All right, so here I am to show you how I would go about doing this assignment. It says use the content aware fill tool in Photoshop to remove the power lines in this picture and make it look believable. So first of all, I'm going to copy this, go to Photoshop and paste. Let's see, I don't know, let's say okay. There we go. All right, so here's how we'll go about it. We're going to make a new layer and I'm going to lock this layer. See, I'm going to click on this layer and hit the lock, just so I don't accidentally, because I've done this a few times just practicing, and accidentally ended up, I thought I was working on this layer, and somehow I ended up on this layer. So I'm going to lock it, that way that can't happen. So here we go. I want you to use the brush tool, and let's make sure it's set to, let's see, where's the tool? No, none of that stuff, none of that. Where is what I'm looking for? Normal? That's not it. There it is. So make sure it's set to hard, round, and that's probably just the default is good. So you can see this little circle. If you see over here, I'll go over to this dark spot so you can see the circle. If I hit the bracket on the keyboard, the brackets, that's the square brackets, kind of close to the letter P to the right of it, you can make it larger or smaller. Now I just want to make it a little bit larger, significantly actually, a reasonable amount larger than the wire. So what I'll do also is I'm going to pick a real gaudy color like red. That way, if I draw something, it's really easy to see. I wouldn't want to use blue or black because that's already in the color or already in the picture. So what I'm going to do is click over here and just click once and go a ways. As long as I think it's straight, I'm going to hit Shift before I click again. And that's going to make it basically shoot straight across. And the last place I clicked was right there, so it's going to continue from there. If I hold Shift, click, Shift, click, Shift, click. Okay, so that covers that wire. And might as well take care of this too. I'm gonna hit Z and zoom in. And then I'm gonna hold Shift and kind of position over. And then I'm gonna hit B again to get the brush back. And I might as well do a couple of dots right there. And I'll click here once and hold Shift there, hold Shift, and just I'm continuously holding Shift so it continues to make a straight line. And this part I'm just going to let go of Shift and just kind of draw freehand. Just make sure I cover the black wire, hold Shift and scoot it over. There. Now I'm going to hit Control 0 to jump back out. And I'm going to hold Shift and position my cursor over here. I'll click once and then let's not go too far. Hold Shift and click. Shift and click. Shift and click. Shift and click. Now I let go of Shift and I just click here and Shift click. Shift click. So this turns a rather tedious task into a pretty fast one, as you'll see. I'm going to let go of Shift while I click back over here, and then I'm going to hold Shift again, and that should finish it up. Okay, so I've basically covered up the wires, and what I'm really going to do here is use this as the mask for what we're doing on this layer. So what we want to do is click on layer 0, or whatever layer that has your picture on it is called, and I'm going to hold Control while I click on this layer right there. And what you'll see is it grabs all that selection. And now I can just hide that if I want. You don't have to, but it's basically I want you to see that I've got this selection over the picture. So now is the magic. We go to edit content aware fill. Let that load, and now here's the result. And if you don't get that result, make sure you click auto right here, and it looks pretty good. I mean, you can zoom in and maneuver this around. I see a little bit of artifacts right here. You can kind of see where it's not quite believable. So if you had to do this super fast, this would probably be good enough. But while we're at it, I mean, I guess just really absorb that point. We're done this fast, and it's pretty believable. But at this point, I'd like you to just experiment a little and maybe learn something about how to make this better or worse. And so right now we see there's kind of a white wispy trail through here, and that is right above this point on the cloud, which corresponds over here. So it's right above that and to the right. So in other words, this area right here seems to be the problem area. And if I understand right, I'm going to hold shift, or excuse me, I'm going to hold space bar while I scoot this over. And so our problem area seems to be right over here. And I think what we want to do is tell the content aware fill. The green stuff is the stuff that it's using to sort of intelligently evaluate what the wire area should look like. And I'm going to take away some of this. I'm going to just click. That's with this tool, the sample brush tool. I'm going to take away some of that. I don't think that's going to affect the area that I was talking about all that much, but maybe a little bit. I think it's more going to come from editing this zone in here, because if you think about it, it's showing white right there, and it's probably because it's interpreting that some of the sky is white, and maybe that's coming from right here. In fact, let's wipe that away and see what happens to that area. It's already better, right? And let's take away this part because it's got some of that white cloudy stuff. Actually, that affected down here more. So maybe we'll zoom in on this area a little bit. I'm going to hold space bar, and we'll just get, using this brush tool, we'll just get closer. I'm going to hit the square brackets on the left to make it smaller. Now I'm going to click once here, and then I'm going to hold shift while I click over there. And that's going to make kind of like a straight line across there. And that got maybe a little better. Now, how about right here? In this zone right here, it could be getting some, I guess the way to think of this is like it's confused, It would do a better job if it wasn't so confused. And we're eliminating some of the confusion by telling it not to count. Like right now, I just told it not to count this area. And maybe it got a little better. I don't know. Maybe I'll creep in even closer. I don't know if that will work. Yeah. What if I just erase right here? Nope, that did something bad. So I'm going to hit Control Z to bring it back. And I'll just manipulate a little bit by hand here. Still kind of wispy. And then right here, it's also kind of wispy. But maybe here's another thing you can do. You'll notice that, let me get this tool. You'll notice that this side right here is closer than that side. Who knows? Maybe we need to take away some of that. So notice when I hit Option, or excuse me, Alt, it shows a minus sign on this little lasso tool, this Polygon lasso tool. I click once, I click twice, click here, just keep clicking to make sort of a polygon out of it. And then I'll click up here, and I'll go over here and just double click, and now it'll take a bite out of that. And let's see if that makes it any better. Maybe a little bit. Let me scoot over. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where that white stripe is getting its information from. Maybe I need to actually make this bigger. So I'm going to hit Shift and click, and then bring it out a little bit. We'll just experiment and see if it makes it better. So there, now it added a little bit to it. Yeah, maybe that's the way to go. So I'm going to actually expand the other side too. Basically undo what I just did on that side by bringing it in closer. Yeah, a little bit better. But that's the idea, is to, and actually now that we did that, let's bring back some of this. So I'm going to hit the selection, the sampling brush tool, and I think I need to hit, what is it? If I click this, that gets rid of it. If I hold Option, or excuse me, Alt. Yeah, let's do that. And right here, it's still processing. Let's bring back some of this. Yeah, it's not quite as noticeable as it once was. And there aren't any other spots that are really showing. But I guess it's also worth showing you what will happen if you use this tool and you go too close to the black line. So let's try that. Oops, I went the wrong way. I need to hit Alt. So let's bring Alt is minus. There we go. So what you should see is, so once it's done calculating, let's not notice, oh, there it is right there. There's what happened because of what I just did. So even though that's not something we'd want, I want you to see what causes these kind of error points. In fact, if I what is it, Alt and go in definitely too close like that, now watch what happens. You got that. So putting it back, I'd want to hit Shift to add to it, and then it goes back away. All right, so that is how to use the Content Aware Fill tool. And I still have, if it was that important to me, I would keep messing with it and get this to go away, or later I would use another tool to blur it or clone stamp or something to try to get it to not be so noticeable. But all in all, it's pretty amazing what Photoshop can do so quickly. Hit apply or OK, and turn in your this new image as your result. I guess I have to unhide this. Wait, did I lose it? What did I do wrong? Yeah, that's an important point. Hit apply, then hit OK. I'm hoping. Is it because that's locked? Okay, we'll try it again. Apply. Okay, there we go. Now I'll use this tool to right-click, deselect. All right, and voila, turn this in as your assignment.